Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Today is still the 13th of May. I'm starting here tonight on the daily account because of the video that Arnold put out earlier when we was talking about Tarkin's kit rework. And I don't know that that's relevant, that the Tarkin kit rework is relevant unless you're planning to go for the clones, which, considering that Crosshair is not even farmable yet, it's going to be a while before the troopers, the clone troopers, become the dark side clones become farmable. So there's that. But and the rework's fine. But the thing about that rework is when Arnold said, we got the new reveal for a new faction that's going to be needed for the raid, and a lot of people aren't going to be happy about it. And when he said that it was pirates, I was like, what? And this happened 10 days ago for you, so I'm sure you found out the news, and even if you've been living under a rock. But we know that there's only 3 parts that you can get in the game, and because SM33 is not gettable yet, and supposedly the next era after this is going to be pirates, and we're going to get, I think, 2 leaders, which to me has to be 6 characters, because if there's 4 in the faction, right? If there's 4 in the faction presently, and we're getting 2 leaders, and they want to be able to make 2 full teams, well, then wouldn't that stand to reason that there are two leaders and 4 other characters, right? I mean, that's kind of what I think. Now, I'm sure by the time this video comes out, I would be very surprised if Turbo hasn't done a deep dive into what pirates he thinks. I'm sure, and I would be very surprised if Calvin doesn't come out with a video saying why wasn't it the Krayt Dragon raid again? Because these pirates and all of this stuff, it doesn't make sense. Darkseid clones, okay. Bad Batch doesn't make sense. Vanguard makes sense. Pirates don't make sense. And I was thinking back to the previous raids, and I had barely started the game when the Krayt Dragon raid came out, and so I wasn't eligible for it. By the way, I forgot to mention we've crossed 2 years of having this daily thing going. I started in late April, early May of 2023. So yeah, but I do know that for the Krayt Dragon raid, you needed Jawas, which were in the game, just nobody farmed them. You needed Tuskens, which they did add 2 Tuskens to make the faction full, right as the raid was coming out. And then you need Old Republic and maybe Mandalorians and the Hutt Cartel. So the Mandalorians had been in the game a long time by this point. The Old Republic had been in the game for a long time at this point. The Jawas were in the game for a long time at this point. The 3 Tuskens were already in the game, and they just added the 2 more. And then, of course, the other cartel they had added. And to me, that's very accessible, you know, because it was easy enough to go and get the Old Republic people. It was easy enough to go get the Jawas. It was easy enough to go get Mandalorians. And so really the only stuff you had to worry about was the two new Tuskens and the Hood Cartel, which makes sense. And then if we go into the indoor raid, you know, basically, if you've been playing the game a month, you basically had a raid team, because it was basically every Imperial trooper that was in the game, except for Moff Gideon. It was Hera from the Phoenix, and then Captain Rex, which is a layer requirement, of course. And then you had Jedi Knight Luke, which takes a little bit, but you had Lando, you have Admiral Akbar, you have Han and Chewie. You have a lot of very accessible characters. And so really the only people that you had to go and look for, or maybe Jedi Knight Luke if you didn't have him already, which I still don't, and the layer requirements. So it's very accessible. And then we get into this raid that we have now, the Naboo raid, where it's most, every Galactic Republic Jedi that were in the game, and just about every Separatist in the game, which are very accessible. Both of them are. And then the only people you had to farm were the Gungans, which everybody who wanted Jar Jar, because everybody was clamoring for Jar Jar. So everybody went for Jar Jar. And then you had the Poncho Bros along with this first Conquest character in Queen Padme. You had the Poncho Bros, and then you had the Tuskens, and that's all you had to farm. So you have the Seps, and then you have Sidious and Darth Maul, and then you have all of the Galactic Republic Jedi, except for Snips and Sky Guy. Very accessible. What I'm seeing, and we don't know all of the requirements, is this new raid doesn't look and it doesn't feel as accessible. And I'm worried about that. I'm worried when I see, okay, because we couldn't get our crap together to get whatever we had planned for the new Bad Batch, which it's just reskin of the old Bad Batch instead of totally new characters. We're going to put that in as a requirement, which you could hard farm, as at the time of this recording, 4 of the 5 members of the new Bad Batch. You can do Omega, you can do Batcher, whatever. You can do Hunter and Wrecker. You can't do Crosshair yet. So you can hard farm them, and you could hard farm them. And at this point, Omega came out in January. And so at this point, we're by the time you see this video, we're going to be like almost 6 months until she's double shroud farmable. because that's when our marquee was released in January. And so you could hard farm this team and have it done by then. But outside of the raid, why would you? Because if you know, with the Tuscans, there's an assault battle for the Tuscans. Going back to the Crate Dragon raid, you know, the Old Republic you need for Revan. And now with the Zalbar Omicron, they're a feasible GC team. With the Jawas, you know, they're, I mean, but Jabba's good, and you know, everybody loves the Moldovarians, so they're a great PvP team. And then with the indoor raid, you know, troopers are troopers, and the rebels are the rebels, and you know, the troopers, there's an assault battle with you know, if you get the Phoenix, you can put, you know, you get Rex and Hera plus 3 Phoenix, and you get yourself an assault battle team. Jedi Knight, if you get Jedi Knight Luke and you get the Jedi, then you get the Jedi assault battle team. And then with this Naboo raid, you know, there's a Conquest Omicron, you know, there's a Galactic Challenge Omicron for Captain Tarfels, I feel like, and they're a great PvP team from what I understand. I think they do really good in Proving Grounds, and you know, if you get the Poncho Bros, well then everybody knows about the Poncho Bros and their assault battle. And then if you get the Seps, well then you get a Sep team. And so there's a lot positive here. But what I'm seeing with this team is the reason why we started farming these Jedi Vanguards is because we wanted to be ready. You know, you look here, and I still have Plo, Kelleron, Ayla, and Barriss, and Shakti, and then I will be done with these Jedi Vanguard on this account. But if we go back to my farming thing where I have, hey, you want to farm these guys, and I've got Dash, and then, you know, Scout Trooper, and this guy from Mama Mandalore, which you can't see, so I'll move myself down. Well, now basically what I have to do is I have to go in here and replace Dash because I finished Dash. And because now I have to start worrying about pirates, I've got to go get Sana and start on Sana at some point. And then I've got to decide, okay, how valuable are these guys? Do I maybe take Mon Mothma or Darth Sion out and put in Hondo? And then these are fleet farms, and do I not do this? And do I just go straight for Infant's Nest, which, you know, that bounty thing that she's on just becomes more needed, because though you need her for a raid, which nobody saw coming. And, you know, it's a bad match. We have, the only reason why you have to have it is because, from my understanding, I don't know because I'm not a PvPer, but I'm not sure that they're a great PvP team. There's no assault battle, so literally, they basically had to include them in the raid to make you want to farm them, which is like, really? And I don't know about you, but I'm not feeling great about having to farm them. And supposedly we're not going to get these pirates until after the raid launches, which, you know, we're supposedly, I guess we're going to get Scorched next week, I guess. So maybe the week that you that you're seeing this, maybe the Scorch event will have already launched. And then, so we'll have that for another week. And so it's going to be after I get back in June that we're going to get Temple Guard or Dippa or whoever for the Jedi Vanguard for the Master Mace. And then 2 weeks after that, so essentially the end of June is going to be when we get the other requirement, or the third week in June is going to be when we get the other requirement for Master Mace. And then there's the whole Master Mace thing. And so essentially it's going to be early July before we get our first pirate. So I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't feel great about this, about it. And I don't like saying that, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't make me feel, it makes me feel like crap, because it's like, we don't know these pirates. And now if I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure Gerbil will be like, hey, here's who I think is going to come for this pirate. And I'm just going to run through some names real quick, because I've done a little bit of research before I went to work. And obviously, now that I'm back, I can actually talk about it, because I couldn't do that before. And hey, we finished Wicked, by the way. Or we got him into relics, I should say. We're not finished, but he's in relics, which is important. So there he is, relic 1, Wicked. Hey, sweet, very nice. And now we can be like, well, he's not done, but he's, for the sake of what I'm doing, he's done. And so that's another thing that puts us close. But then again, we have at least three more people to worry about. And so given, obviously the next person would be R2 or Boosh, but I think given that I need to hurry up and get ready for this raid, we're going to start on Plo Koon, and, we'll move on from there, but we're going to start working on Plo Koon, which is something, definitely. And then, we'll see what happens after that, but we're going to keep pressing in on Plo Koon and whoever else and see what happens. And so Plo Koon will be the next one that we start working on. And then, we do need to go get more of these. But I'm not thrilled about it. I'm not thrilled. I'm like the big thing that I'm thinking about is what's the accessible, where's all the accessibility? Where's the tunes that make this raid accessible? Because for right now, it's Jedi Vanguard and 3 pirates. And you can be like, well, what about Admiral Tarkin, Grand Admiral Tarkin? And it's like, that's fine, but you've got to have these dark side clone troopers, which aren't farmable, and they're probably, and it's going to be however long after Crosshair becomes farmable. It's going to be however long after them before they even start being farmable. And so, fortunately, there's only 4 of them, and so you can start with Abo, in maybe mid-June if and when Crosshair gets released, maybe mid-June. We'll have to see. And you could go for the team, and it would be, it's 4 people, but it's not going to be available overnight. So, you're not going to be able to get to it overnight, and that's something we can consider. Now, I will say this power faction is, depending on who they put in, and if you go look on the Wikipedia, then there's this person that could be that we have no idea what it looks like, but his name is Quina, Q apostrophe ANAH, that I found. And then if you dig in more, there's obviously it talks about infants. If you just go in here, you see Infant's Nest on here as a member of the Cloud Raiders, and maybe we end up putting more of the Cloud Raiders in, or so I think everybody you're going to look at is going to be on this part of this thread of that's off of that's on the Star Wars.fandom.com wiki /pirate thing. I mean, you just go in and you just look at names, and there's this one that I'm looking at now who I think a lot of people would be interested in, and that's Satan Intando, who he just looks, he looks very menacing if you go on a look for him. And then there's Tora Zato, who's another one. And then there was one that I was looking at earlier, and I'm like, yes, please. And I'm trying to find her real quick, and yes, it's a her, and I'm looking for her, and I don't remember what her name was or where she was. I'm trying to take too long, but I'm going to pause real quick so I can find this real quick. Found her. Her name is Lessa Rain, and she's a Pantoran, and she's got pink hair. She's got blue skin, which makes her look like a chiss, but she's not, because she's got pink skin, gold eyes, and pink hair. And if you find her in this thread she'd be really interesting. And I definitely think that if you just go and look at this StarWars.fandom.com/wiki/pirate, just look at it. They're all the characters that are in the game. Infant's Nest, Son of Staros, Hondo Ohnaka are all on the lists. Oddly enough, I have not come across a mention of SM33 yet. But there he is. However, SM33 and KB, yeah, there they are. I found them there, and there's mention of Adam. But just go through here and look through it, and see for yourself. What do you think? I definitely think it's worth digging into. Maybe there's something to think about, but I know I just wanted to get this off my chest, because I'm like, we need something more accessible. I don't think there's any other way to say it. We just need tunes that make this raid just more accessible, because it's not accessible right now. It's very, unless you've got Vanguard, then unless you got Vanguard up and running and ready to go, then you can be hurting. Unless they give us something very accessible. And I have no idea what that could be, because you know. But yeah, I know this video's been long. Apologies for that, but I just wanted to talk about it because I'm like trying to figure it out, and I'm raking my head, trying to figure it out, and it just didn't make sense. So if you can help me figure it out, if you can figure it out for yourself, that'd be great. Let me know. But by the time you're seeing this, we're gonna be heading out. So the videos that I do between now and the day that you're seeing this are probably gonna be the ones that I've already done for while I'm gone, and then we'll see we'll see what happens when I get back and go from there. But I'll be around. But just know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I mean, what you think, because I know you're seeing this, and hopefully I'll have some time to see it and gauge some reaction. But either way, we'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much. I appreciate all of you. God bless. Hold the line, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.